Good morning, children. Let us start the new chapter, that is chapter number 4, metals and non-metals. You are familiar with a number of materials like iron, aluminium, copper, etc. Can you name the material which are metals? Now, metals can be distinguished from non-metals on the basis of their physical and chemical properties. Coming to the physical properties of metals and non-metal, you already know the shape of iron nail, aluminium wire changes on beating. If they were beaten harder, they could change into the sheets. You might be also familiar with the silver foil, which is used for decorating sweets. You are also familiar with aluminium foil used for wrapping the food. So, the property of metal by which they can be beaten into thin sheets is called malleability. This is the characteristic property of only metals. So, materials like coal, pencil lead, these do not show this property. We can understand the malleability property by doing one activity. Take some iron nail, coal piece and piece of thick aluminium wire and also pencil lead. Now beat everything with the hammer. Care should be taken, you should not get hurt. Okay. To try it, hit hard. Hitting hard also the aluminium wire. They repeat this, then repeat the same kind of the treatment on the coal piece, pencil lead, whatever is available with you, and record your observation. Your observation will be, you will see the shape of iron nail, aluminium wire changes on beating. If they were beaten harder, they can be changed into sheets also. Now you might be familiar with silver foil and aluminium sheet we have already seen. So the property of metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheets is called the malleability. And this is the characteristic property of metals only. So material like coal and pencil lead, they do not show this property. Now, the second property of metals is the conductivity. Can you hold a hot metallic pan which is without a plastic or wooden handle and not get hurt? Perhaps not. Why this is so? Try to list some other experiences in which wooden or plastic handle protect you from being hurt while handling hot things. On basis of these experiment, what we can say? That conduction of heat by wood and plastic, you must have seen an electrician using the screwdriver. What kind of handle does it have? Why? Let us find out. Now, one more activity you can do is just take one electric circuit to test whether electricity can pass through a certain objects or not. You might have performed the activity of various objects. Now repeat the activity with the materials. Observe the group of material whatever you have taken into good conductor and poor conductor. Through our observation, we can observe that iron rod, nail, copper wire are good conductor, while rolled sulfur pieces or coal are poor conductor. So different materials show poor or good conductivity. Now the third property of the metals are the ductility. Where do we find the use of aluminium and copper generally? They are seen in the wires. Have you seen the wire of coal? Definitely not. So the property by which a metal can be drawn into wire is called ductility. The fourth property is the sonority. Okay. Now the things made of metals produce ringing sound when struck hard. Since metal produce ringing sound, they are said to be sonorous. Have you seen wooden bell in the temples? No. Bells are made up of iron. Can you give the reason? Yes. Why? Because iron is a metal. So every instrument, music instrument, they are generally made up of metals to give the melodious sound. So let us repeat the activities which we have done through the learning. We say some materials are hard, lustrous, malleable, ductile, sonorous, and good conductor of heat and electricity. So the material which generally possesses these above properties are called metals. For example, iron, copper, aluminium, calcium, magnesium, etc. In contrast, material like coal and sulfur, they are soft and dull in appearance. They break down into powdery mass on tapping with the hammer, and they also not produce sonorous, and they are poor conductor of heat and electricity. So these materials are called non-metals. For example, non-metals are sulfur, carbon, oxygen, phosphorus, etc. Now let us see the chemical properties of metals and non-metal. First is reaction with oxygen. You are familiar with the phenomena of rusting of iron and burning of magnesium ribbon in air. We already had learned that in both the processes, oxide formation takes place. Now let us check the nature of rust formed as a result of reaction between iron, oxygen and water. The activity is collect a spoonful of rust and dissolve it in a very little amount of water. You can observe that rust remains suspended in water. Shake the suspension well. Now, test the solution with red and blue litmus paper. What do you observe? Is the solution acidic or basic? We will observe that red litmus turn into blue. So, oxide of magnesium is also basic in nature, and iron oxide is basic nature. Now the next activity we have to perform is we have to take small amount of sulfur powder and in a deflagrating spoon. If it is not available, take a metallic cap in place of spoon and wrap the metallic wire around it. Now when as soon as sulfur starts burning, introduce this spoon or whatever cover you have taken into the glass or jar or glass tumbler. Cover the tumbler with the lid to ensure that gas produced does not escape. Now remove the spoon after some time, add a little quantity of water into the tumbler and quickly replace the lid. Now shake the tumbler well and check the solution again with the red or blue litmus paper. Now what we observe is the name of the product formed in the reaction will be sulfur, combination of sulfur and oxygen. So the gas produced will be the sulfur dioxide. When this sulfur dioxide dissolves in water, sulfurous acid is formed. So you can see the reaction SO2 plus H2O gives sulfurous acid. Formula is H2SO3. Now this is acid. It turns blue litmus paper into red. So we can observe oxides of non-metals are acidic in nature. The second after oxygen is, let us see the reaction with water. Now, first metal and non-metal, how they react with water. For example, sodium metal. It is very reactive. It reacts vigorously with oxygen and water. Lot of heat is also generated in this reaction. Therefore, always it is stored in the kerosene. So whatever we are doing activity, in every activity we have to take the special care or precaution. So in this case, sodium metal, as we already have studied, these are very vigorously they react. So size of the sodium metal should be taken very small or wheat grain size, and it should be held with the pair of tongue, and during observation also keep away the beaker. So activity is take 250 ml of beaker or glass tumbler, fill half of tumbler with water. Now carefully cut a small piece of sodium metal, dry it with the filter paper or wrap it in a small piece of cotton. After drying, put this small piece of sodium into the wrap cotton and put it into the beaker. Now observe carefully. After activity, when the reaction stops, touch the beaker. What do you feel? Has the beaker become hot? Answer is yes. Now, test the solution with red and blue litmus papers. Now, see the change. Is the solution acidic or basic? We will observe that sodium reacts vigorously with the water. Some other metals do not do like this. For example, iron. They react very slowly, rust formation. Generally, non-metals do not react with water, though they may be very reactive in air. Now, such non-metals are stored in water. For example, phosphorus is also very reactive non-metal. It catches fire if exposed to air. So, to prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric oxygen, it is stored in water. Now, another activity is take samples of metals and non-metals in separate test tubes. Now label them as A, B, C, D, E and F. With the help of a dropper, add 5 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid to each test tube one by one. Now observe the reaction carefully. If no reaction occurs in cold solution, warm the test tube gently and bring the burning matchstick near the mouth of each test tube. Repeat the same activity using dilute sulfuric acid in place of dilute hydrochloric acid taken earlier. Now record your observations. Is there any difference in the way metal and non-metal react with acids? What could the pop sound in some cases be due to when the burning of matchstick is brought near the mouth of the test tube? So what will be our observation? You must have found that non-metals generally do not react with acids, but metal react with acids and produce hydrogen gas when burned with the pop sound. You must have also noticed that copper does not react with dilute hydrochloric acid even on heating, but it reacts with the sulfuric acid. The next activity is prepare a fresh solution of sodium hydroxide NaOH in a test tube by dissolving 3 or 4 pellets or small pieces in 5 ml of water. Now drop a piece of aluminium foil into it and bring a burning matchstick near the mouth of each test tube. Now observe carefully. Observation. As before, the pop sound indicate the presence of hydrogen gas. So metal react with sodium hydroxide to produce hydrogen gas. Now reaction of non-metals with bases are complex reactions. Now another type of reaction is known as displacement reactions. So what we have to do is we have to take 500 ml beakers and label them as A, B, C, D, E. Take about 50 ml of water in each beaker. Dissolve each beaker a tablespoon or teaspoon of each substances. Now in beaker A, copper sulfate plus zinc. In beaker B, copper sulfate plus iron nail. C, zinc sulfate plus copper turnings. In beaker D, iron sulfate plus copper turning, and in beaker E, zinc sulfate plus iron nail. Now we will observe that in beaker A, zinc replaces copper from the copper sulfate solution. That is why the blue color of copper sulfate disappears and powdery red mass of copper is deposited at the bottom of the beaker. A reaction can be represented as copper sulfate CuSO4 plus zinc Zn gives, this is copper sulfate is blue in color. Now it will give zinc sulfate. Now observe that copper has been replaced by the zinc. Earlier it was copper sulfate, now it is zinc sulfate, and copper becomes free. So blue color changes into colorless solution, or red color copper is we get. We can write down the reaction taking place in beaker B in a similar manner. Now there has been displacement of zinc by copper in the beaker C and by iron in beaker E. Similarly, iron could be displaced by copper in beaker D also. Since we do not see any change in beaker C, we can infer that copper is not able to replace zinc from the zinc sulfate. But why this is so? When zinc can replace copper in A, why cannot copper replace zinc in copper C? Remember, in science is not an arbitrary process. It is definite and based on the facts. Now, one rule is to be followed that zinc is more reactive than copper and iron. A more reactive metal replaces less reactive metal, but a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal. Now we can understand that is why there is no displacement reaction in beaker D and E also. Now we will see certain uses of metals and non-metals. So we should be able to guess why metals are used in machinery, automobiles, aeroplanes, trains, satellites, industrial gadgets, cooking utensils, water boilers, etc. You are now familiar with the uses of some non-metals also. Now let us see. Here are certain questions. Now non-metal essential for our life, which all living organism inhale during breathing. So answer is the oxygen. Non-metal used in fertilizers to enhance the growth of plants, nitrogen and phosphorus. Non-metal used in water purification process, answer is chlorine. And non-metal used in, that is purple in color, and it is used as a solution applied on the wounds as an antiseptic, answer is iodine. And non-metal used in cracker, as we all know, is the sulfur. You can also add some more uses of metal and non-metal through your experiences. Now children, elements, we have already learned in a chemical reaction new substances are formed. These substances are different from the original or from which it has underwent the reaction. Now, if a substance cannot be broken down further by chemical reactions or by cooling or heating or by electrolysis, that is known as element. Now, sulfur. Sulfur is an example of element. So is iron. Carbon is an element. The smallest unit of element is atom. So, a sample of an element contains only one kind of atoms. The atom of an element remain unaffected by any physical change in the element. Now, for example, an atom of liquid sulfur would be exactly the same as the atom of solid or vapor sulfur. Although we have an infinite variety of substances in the universe, the number of elements forming these substances is very limited. An important classification of element is there are not more than 92 naturally occurring elements. Most of the elements are metals and less than 20 are generally non-metals, and few are metalloids, which possess both the character of metals as well as non-metal. Now keywords are atom, conductor, displacement reaction, ductility, elements, hardness, malleability, metals, metalloid, non-metals and sonorous. Now we have already read about metals are lustrous while non-metals are non-lustrous. Metals are malleable, ductile, non-metals they are non-malleable and non-ductile. Metals are good conductor, non-metals are poor conductor. On burning metal with oxygen, it produces metal oxide which are basic in nature. Non-metals react with oxygen and produce non-metallic oxide which are acidic in nature. Now, metal react with water to produce metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas, while non-metal do not react with water. Metal react with acids and produce salt and hydrogen gas, and non-metal do not react with acids. Some metal react with bases to produce hydrogen gas also. More reactive metal displaces less reactive metal from their compound in aqueous solution, and metals and non-metals are widely used in our daily life. Now, some more important point is, question can be asked from these topics. When a copper vessel is exposed to moist air for long time, it acquires a dull green coating. Now the green material is a mixture of copper hydroxide CuOH twice and copper carbonate CuCO3. The following reaction is there: copper, water, carbon dioxide, oxygen. They forms the copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. Second is metal like sodium and potassium are soft and can be cut with a knife. Mercury is the only metal which is found in liquid state at room temperature. These are the exceptions.